Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Essentialist, Harry Ondoa here. We just killed another great episode of Stuck in the Middle, and we had a great time. A lot of information and everything. Thanks for having me, guys. So make sure you follow Stuck in the Middle. You guys are great. You guys rock. Thanks for having me over, and have a good one.
Yo, it's another episode of Stuck in the Middle podcast. Man, AK, bro, where were you last night, man?
Man, I was in the crowd, man.
You you were in that crowd?
Yeah, man.
Dang.
I was in the crowd, fam.
So when people were throwing money at me, you were hiding.
Oh, I mean, when I do you acknowledge it? So when I don't, then you want to kill me.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to play these things out, man. What did you think about the concert? By the way, shout out to Blue Nation.
Yeah, man.
Putting together TZ Punch-Out concert yesterday. Buena Vista. DMV came through, man. It was live.
Yeah, that joint was lit.
It was lit. Yeah, we appreciate TZ coming on the podcast, too, First place he made his home when he landed here, and we wish him success in his continued tour in the States.
Definitely, man. When you see somebody come up, man, just gotta support.
Yes, sir.
Support, man.
I literally left there and drove to my place of work this morning.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm running on E right now.
Yeah, man. Your mom called me like, yo, this dude left me in the house by myself. What if I got robbed? I'm like, Mom, calm down. It's not that
she ain't
serious.
getting robbed, man. I keep a Beretta in the crib. I better not try that.
Hey, man.
But it's Sunday, though, man. Another episode of Stuck in the Middle podcast.
Definitely.
Welcome to all listeners and watchers.
Yeah.
Let me know who got in the building today, man. I'm excited for this, bro.
Hey, me too, dog. Like, this genre right here has been a long time coming, man.
really know.
Hey, who doesn't like style these days? Who don't like fashion? Ladies always talk about, I want to build a clean man, a man who could dress, a man who could, treat the ladies right. Yeah. So today, we got that man, and I kid you not, fam. Like, when I was doing the flyer for this episode, right? Hey, the comments I was hearing behind me, I was like, hey, all these comments are one person. Chai. But anyways, in the building today, we got the founder of Man of Freak, Kamen Art Studios, published photographer, fashion and lifestyle influencer, and content creator. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Harry Ondoa.
Hello.
Harry, man.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Stuck in the Middle.
Welcome
Thanks,
to the podcast,
thanks for having
bro.
me, guys. Thanks for having me.
No doubts, no
you guys-
doubts.
You guys are doing something very meaningful here.
Oh, thank you.
Nah, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
I'm a
Thank
fan.
you.
I'm definitely a fan.
Appreciate that, bro. Like he said, man, like, I even had people that were like, yo, what's the address to the studio? I'm trying to pull up. You get out a lot?
Oh, the address?
No.
the
I'm
compliment.
saying,
The
the compliments. Like, yo,
I'm
I'm saying,
kidding.
ladies
I'm
were
kidding, I'm
texting me.
kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding. Nobody's asking me for my address, and I'm not giving my address out. But yes, I mean, I do. I do every now and then.
How do you deal with that? Because some people will run with it. They're gonna have a big head. Gonna be like, oh, fine, Bobo, no pimple. How do you handle such compliments?
I mean, it only takes me it just takes me further down the road of humility at the end of the day. Because I know that growing up I didn't have even half of the things that I have today.
Right.
So, and then most of the time, it's always on always on the social media and all that stuff. So sometimes all I can do is just be appreciative or sure I appreciate their comments and then that would just end there. But in my personal, life or like when it comes to seeing people face to face, it happens not so often because, if I'm not inbound with my own, if I'm not homebound with my own little circle or whatever, then I'm always out somewhere else. Where
Right.
Most of the time people don't know.
So, like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody might be watching. It's like, yo, y'all gassing homie up, but like, who is he?
Yeah.
Who is Harry?
Who is
Who
Harry?
is
Ondoa.
Harry Ondoa? Oh
Yeah.
man, I suck at talking about myself, but I'll try my best for the sake of this journey right here. So, Harry Ondoa is a Cameroon native. I was born in Washington D.C., but don't be fooled. I grew up in Douala.
Confirm.
I grew up 16 years in Douala. Came back here doing for high school. Went to a little high school in Hagerstown. It's called Hagerstown, Maryland. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
past
yeah, yeah,
Frederick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the country. A lot of people don't know. I won't be surprised if you don't
Hagerstown.
know.
Hackenstart is that one place.
Yeah.
You're like, yo, like I got a function. Where
boy,
Hackenstart?
I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
right. We'll see you on
Yeah,
the
it
flip side.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it was interesting. But then back then, Hagerstown to me, especially coming back to the States or whatever, Hagerstown for me was still like Paris. To me, Hagerstown made me feel like Silver Spring was Germany or something
What?
downtown somewhere or so, I don't know, man. I'm telling you. But prior to that, I did attend, primary school and some of my secondary school back home, and I started off with Horizon bilingual school, during my nursery school years, and then I went to a government school back in Douala in Bonamusadi, and then followed up with Emergence bilingual school, which is in Bonapriso, in Douala, still in Douala, and in Form 1. What's the equivalence in grade here?
I would
I'm not
say
even sure.
no. I would say middle school.
That should be
Yeah, I
middle
would say
school.
middle school,
Yeah.
yeah.
So during my middle school years, I was in St. Joseph's College, for about 4 years, and then eventually got here in to the States.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Man.
So oh yeah, who's Harry Ondoa to finish that?
Yeah, definitely.
I digress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely optimistic. I do consider myself as a glass half full type of guy. At least I do my best to challenge all my talents, or I put them to work and not just put that to waste or whatever. My vision has always been to make brands look better, especially for like when it comes to like African brands. And charity starts at home, right? So every business that deals with, any business that comes from Africa or that deals with Africa needs to be polished, because as of right now, we may have good businesses out there, but when it comes to like presentation, public presentation and PR and all that good stuff, or just simply branding, it's a little. It's a little bit of a challenge for us.
That's true.
So that's what I'm trying to grow. That's my mission, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I applaud you for that, by the
Yeah,
way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's legit. It sounds like we had a mental
Mental
conversation.
click.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
both platforms sound very similar and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, man, under your belt, right?
Yeah.
You have some major, like reflexes. Say you like to use big words. I learned, mine's is not big, but accolades, people say, what I mean? Like, you studied accounting, for 2 years, right?
Right.
Then further went down to do international business
Yes.
and graphic design.
Right.
Why accounting? Why international business? You could have done engineering.
Right. Well, I started off with accounting just because I was just good at it. I didn't grow up liking classes like statistics or just math or geography or geometry or anything like that. But I was just good at it, but I wasn't passionate about it. So when I was done with high school, I went to Montgomery College in Rockville, Maryland, and from there, I kind of learned that actually 1 year into the course, into the program, I discovered that I was just good at it, but I was passionate about it.
Right.
And then further down the line, this is one thing that a lot of people don't even know. I wanted to be a CPA, a certified public accountant.
Yeah, okay.
But the problem with that is, especially in the States, is that if I were to do that, then my life would be to commit to this one
Working.
endeavor. Yeah, this
Yeah.
one endeavor, which is taking care of my firm. It's kind of like a doctor, working in his hospital, or maybe opening his own hospital, his or her own hospital, and not being able to do anything else,
Exactly.
which is still in the same field. So for me, knowing that I wanted to do many other things, I knew that it would be that there would be a conflict of interest always, because accounting is just the backbone of every business. So if I were to open another business, or if I were to come up with a new idea, I would have to step my level down from maybe founder or CEO to maybe I don't know, just an investor or
Right.
whatever the title, I'll have to step down to and let somebody else take the lead.
Yeah.
And one thing in America, I'm pretty sure you guys know about it already, is that, it's very easy for you to come up with your own company or whatever and still get fired for it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's facts, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
facts.
so I didn't want to put myself in that position or whatever. And besides, the passion was not there. I was just good at it. I still went on and did the
Accounting.
2 years and everything and to get the associates or whatever. But when that was done, I was like, okay, you know what? At the end of the day, I'll have some knowledge of accounting. I'm still going to, get more knowledge from it because of my major with business, international business. You still have to do some accounting. So I just said, I just told myself, you know what? I will go ahead and keep that with me, whatever it is that I grasped from community college, and just put that into work when I come up with all these different brands or whatever. At least I'm not gonna get cheated or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
So that was just it. And anything else, I couldn't be an engineer because I can stand physics. I never liked physics. I never liked chemistry. I never liked any of those. The only science subject that I really liked was biology.
Biology. Yeah, biology is easy.
Biology was good.
Everybody.
Biology was good until maybe like high school when it
Yeah.
started getting more complicated and everything. I was like, okay, these words, whatever you guys are telling me right now, that has to end right here. So yeah, that's why I had to, fall back.
You mentioned different brands. Like somebody who might be listening right now. Like, what different brands you involved in right now?
Right now, I will start off with Menafric, which most people are more familiar with.
Yeah.
Menafric, oh man, that was a journey. So Menafric, I'm involved with Menafric, Camerat Studios, which is a production company. It's a Cameroonian production company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Menafric, which is today more of a creative agency, and what else? This is my own personal brand, which is the Essentialist, which is just the creative man behind, which is just a creative man behind all the other brands. And so far, that's it. That's all I can share for now.
For now.
Other things I have to, go through it and everything. But yeah, so we have Menafric, which is we started off actually as a blog.
You started it off, or
I started off with a personal friend of mine, or it's a very close friend of mine. His name is Bleacher Innes. And
Shout
by
out to
the way,
Bleacher Innes, yeah.
And I suggest you guys need
check
to
him
have
out.
on
Okay,
there.
yeah,
You need to check him out.
definitely, man. Definitely.
So so it just started out of nowhere. I was doing photography like I always did, and we got instantly connected. We both had love for fashion and everything. We had the same visions for Africa and all that good stuff. But the fashion aspect of it was just something that just drew us a little bit closer before we even really got to know each other. So back then, that was back in end of 2000, around 2013. So back then, we were doing a lot of fashion photography and all that stuff. And whenever we posted it on social media, it always got
It just
a lot of
clicked.
attention
Yeah,
or
yeah,
got
yeah.
viral and everything.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, you know what? We need to utilize that. We are getting a lot of attention on all these social media platforms. We have to find a way to monetize
Capitalize
it,
on
or
that,
and capitalizing it. So he was down for it. He said, "Yeah, let's just do a blog for now, and we see how that goes. We see how the audience is gonna react and all that stuff." And I came up with the name. He came up with the concept. The initial concept was pretty much to celebrate men of color. Men of color who inspired their communities and everything. So we said, okay, you know what? It's not just the reason why he wanted to do that was because he didn't want fashion to just be
The main
only
thing.
thing, the main thing.
Yeah.
He wanted it to have substance or whatever. And we knew that like whenever we do like fashion shots and all that stuff, the first thing people will mention is GQ, for example.
Right.
Right.
yeah.
GQ as of today, I'm not crapping on them or anything, but like they do a lot of fashion stuff, but it doesn't have as much substance as as our brand pretty
Right.
much, because they will only show the outside of things, just the fashion, and they are very good at it. So we wanted more substance to it. We wanted to say, okay, this person is just not fashionable, but he's doing X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And this is why you need to follow up with this guy, So that was pretty much it. We writing articles about friends and business partners or whatever who are doing meaningful things out there or whatever. But and even for those who don't who don't have such a high fashion sense, we will style them and whatever and do a shoot with them and everything and promote them.
Right.
So that was the idea. We moved from that to from the blog to the blog idea to it being a magazine. So, and I came up with the idea of it being a magazine. I still want it to be a magazine, and he was not so okay with it. He was down with it, but like he had a bigger picture. He's more of a business minded person, and I'm more on the creative side.
Right.
Yeah.
So I understood where he was coming from, but to me, I was just like, there's this route right here we can take, and obviously you have to compromise. So I suggest that we make it a magazine, and he found a way to kind of like he kind of found like a middle part where we can both agree.
Right.
And he
Compromise
said,
on, yeah.
you know what, Menafric can be a lot of things. We have a whole lot of ideas right now for this brand or whatever. We plan on doing some publishing, styling, and all that. We even went up all the way to a modeling agency. So we said we are just gonna make it like an umbrella company,
Right.
like an umbrella corporation type of stuff, where we have Menafric, and under Menafric we have Menafric magazine,
Magazine,
Menafric agency, and all that
modeling
good
and
stuff.
all that.
Yeah, so that's the big picture right there. And right now we just took it down from Menafric magazine to just Menafric because we know we're gonna come up with
Incorporate all this
other
other, yeah.
sub brands.
But
that. Yeah.
here's the question though. Men are freak. Is it just men or could both
No,
sex?
yeah, I get that a lot. No, it's not just men. And this is for later down the future. Right now, we are actually we actually took some stuff back, and we are more idle now because we are really trying to solidify the structure of the brand. And one thing we plan on doing is also one thing we plan on doing is also celebrate women.
Yeah.
And if you're a woman and you're an entrepreneur out there and everything, it's only right for us to
Showcase
to
that,
do
huh?
that.
Yeah,
And especially if we say we are a brand that caters to African, the African clientele, So we have to do that. We have to honor that. But the reason why we said men are free, and the reason why we started off with men of color is because one, we relate a little bit better because in terms of fashion, in terms of work, in terms of whatever you
That's
can
true.
name that.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we are good at styling, we are good at fashion, we are good at branding or whatever, and there's also to remove the negative connotation to the African man as well. That was one of the goals. That's one of the
What
reasons
kind of
why.
negative connotations are there to African men?
Oh man, where do I start? We are going to be on for a long one. There's especially for us living in the diaspora and everything. There are a lot of things that it could be anything from like marriage or like how the average man, African man or whatever behaves in a family or in their work life or just it for me, for Cameroonians anyway, we are known for being players. Let's call it out. Let's call it what it is, right?
Right.
And some. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but that's one
All
of
you
the things that I
Cameroon do is
think.
giving us bad rep. Cut it out.
You have to cut that out today. Today it ends. So it's not just that or whatever. It was more like, and again, you have to think about like all the other magazines during the time when it was a magazine. You have to think about all the other magazines out there. Who are the number one readers? The number one audience for any magazine is women.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
facts.
Everything
That's
you
facts,
have
yeah.
from Ebony to Essence or whatever, it's always gonna be,
Yeah.
women or whatever. So, not to say that there weren't any men's magazine out there or anything like that, but I've never heard of any men's magazine, African men's magazine. So when coming back to the negative connotation or whatever, whether it comes from like the way, the man dresses or presents himself or even talk to people or whatever. Some people say, African men are like a little bit rude when they talk or they are not very
Aggressive,
they are very aggressive and everything. Those are things that we were thinking about, we were thinking about having a clientele where, we can have these guys over and like do some kind of makeover and all that stuff, or like kind of like groom them to be, to be what I don't want to say what society want them to be,
Yeah.
but yeah, you get what I'm
be a
saying.
better
To be
man,
to
pretty
be a
much.
better
What
person.
society
whatever.
don't know that they are.
They are exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I want. Yeah, that was one of the the goals on there. So for the negative thing, trust me. If I start,
Yeah, we're
trust
not
me, we are
going.
gonna finish tomorrow. We'll probably need a second day for this podcast. Trust me.
So
So
let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
You know, with the negative connotations and
Yeah.
all whatnot, is this something that you've implemented in your own life? Because they say practice what you preach, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is it something that you've implemented in your own life and, you know, you've seen the changes over time?
Yes, I do believe so. Till this day, I struggle. I struggle with with certain things. I mean, everybody has flaws, but obviously, before coming up with these ideas, I had to check myself.
Right.
Then I had to check my my friend out as well. It could be anything from like finances, maybe your job, your career, the way you carry yourself in public, the way you handle your money, the way you do all these things or whatever. These are things that we had to check. And I know for one, I think I got it a little better, but I know for one back then, I was somebody who would always try to like get what he wants.
Right.
I'm talking about financially. So I could have a little bit of money today or whatever. If I see what I want, I'm getting it. I don't care about tomorrow. I wouldn't care about tomorrow. I
Right.
wouldn't care about if need to save something for the future or whatever. But these are things that I had to check myself. And before doing that, and trust me, and my friend is a little bit like that too. So creating this brand actually pushed us to like get better because we said, okay, you know what if we come, we come across a client who really sees all the dirt in the back, and says, oh, you guys are promoting such and such and such, but you don't have, you don't, you're trying to remove a
Right.
peck from my eye when you have a huge
Huge
log
log,
yeah.
in yours. So
Yeah.
that was that kind of stuff. So it kind of like pushed us to manage that some of these things, and we obviously we sharpened iron with iron, and before even going out there and then promoting this movement.
Nah,
Yeah.
man, I dig it, man. I dig it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like y'all spend a lot of time with, you know what I'm saying? Like, say, if
Yeah.
you like, yo, let's shoot AK.
Yeah.
Y'all spend a lot of time with AK, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
getting his story. It's like, it's a lot of work put into it. I dig it.
Yeah, we seriously did. And until this day, we are still working on it because this is something that started January like 2013 around that
yeah.
time. So it took us a long time to figure out what we want to do with the brand,
Right.
and it definitely took us a long time to handle everything from the legal documentations, register the business, and all that good stuff. It took us it's been a process. So it's only now that like we are starting to like reach out to more clients and like
Right.
come up with more content or whatever. And we do have content. It's just that before putting it out there, we
Gotta
we have to
polish it.
exactly, and we have to like we are working on a campaign and everything for that. So we are all the material that we have is just in the back end of the business and everything, but we are really gonna promote it when the time comes.
Yeah, because your website is down for men.
Yeah.
The website is
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, the
you know
website
what I
is
mean?
down.
Yeah,
I had
so-
to.
Come on, man. Don't do us like that right before the pod,
No,
man.
for now.
Last night, I'm trying to do my research. I'm like, yo, bro, like, where this man at?
No. Actually, the thing is, we were getting a little bit too much attention at the time for Men Are Freak, more than we could handle, because we got to a point. It got to a point where some people were reaching out to us for things we were not prepared to do.
Man.
They say, oh yeah, I like your work or whatever. Yeah, I like this suit you shot or whatever. Where can I get this thing? Yeah, we'll give references and everything. But then when it comes to like saying, oh, we got to shoot somebody and like work on a campaign with these people and all that stuff, I have other things I'm doing in my life. My partner, the person with whom I founded the brand, is doing a crap load of things, real estate and all this stuff, you name it. So, we never had as much time, that much time we needed to really come together. And say, yo, you know what? We're gonna need to sit down and work with this client
Right.
from A to Z. So we knew we can just handle that. So now now we went back to the in the outside of things. When you check the social media and all that stuff, we are still promoting men of color, but in the back we are like getting more structured and everything, and like pretty much doing what you guys are doing, but just doing it in an
Slow pace,
article,
yeah.
slower pace, and
yeah.
like in an article format and everything, and because we do plan on publishing and stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Let's focus on you, right?
yeah,
The essentialist.
yeah.
What is the essentialist?
Okay, so the essentialist it's a concept. First of all, it's a concept of doing that promotes doing more with less.
Repeat that.
It's just a concept that promotes doing
Doing
more,
more.
with less.
How do you go
Okay.
about that? What do you?
Okay.
Okay, so I came up with that brand about a week ago or maybe a few days ago, and the reason why I came up with that name is because I was looking for a brand name like an artist name or I'm a creative person or whatever. I felt like Harry Ondoa Jr. should be a name that should be used when you meet me face to face. But I wanted that like when it comes to my services or anything that I provide or my business, I wanted it to have a different name. The same way a photographer would come up with, I don't know, Brandon Combs Photography, for
Yeah, yeah,
example. I didn't want to do Harry Ondoa Photography. I didn't want to do designs by Harry Ondoa or anything like that. I wanted it to be, I wanted my name to be more personable, more, a little bit more private. I wanted to add a little more mystery to it. So when I came up with the Essentialist, I said, you know what, this is a perfect blogger name, and it can give me room to do everything I want to do.
Right.
It was something else before.
Yeah. Before that, it was the Renaissance Man. I had to change that. I had to change that. I had to change that. I mean, I like the name
I
itself.
like the Renaissance man.
Yeah, but then again, it's a word that exists.
Yeah.
It's a say. A Renaissance Man is somebody who's multi-talented.
It's something
has
like you
made-
can, if you put in Google, 1,000 things gonna pop up.
Yeah, like
As
1,000
opposed to,
things
like,
are gonna
the Essentialist.
exactly. So we have and again you have to look on your Instagram and all that stuff, like come up with a good username, try to see if it has not been privately registered and under any LLC, or if it has not been trademarked or anything of that nature. Now it hasn't, but the thing is, I always knew that like when I took that name, I was gonna change it. It's just that I'm somebody who does things like when I feel it. I said, you know what, Harry Ondoa has to go down. Harry Ondoa needs to be something you see on the documents, you see on you see in any paperwork, or you see face to face. So when I came up with the Renaissance Man, I knew in the back of my head, it's not gonna
Yeah,
stay with me.
like 10.
And then again, I have to spell THA because somebody owns THE. So saying the Renaissance Man or whatever give like a little casualty to the name, like kind of like a casual vibe to the brand name when I'm not so casual. I'm trying to keep things more formal and
Right.
more disciplined,
Yeah.
So I had to change that or whatever. Though it fit what I'm doing now, I felt like, it has to change.
And he put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to come up with that name? Because it sounds like you spent 20.
I feel like it's one of
20,000
the- I feel like it just came like bam. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Essentialist. That's it right there.
Yeah, actually, I went through a series of names and I had to like look it up and
It was-
everything.
yeah.
I had to look them up and then I said, "What people have this name?" Yeah. I started off with I remember I started off with the Sartorialist. Yeah, I did. I really did. I started off with the Sartorialist.
Whoever advice you know to be that one, shout out to them.
I started off with the Sartorialist, and when I looked up the Sartorialist, trust me, there's no worse feeling than seeing somebody take your name, right, and he's doing better than you. And he's doing the same thing, but he was strictly into fashion though. He was doing like street style fashion photography. So he's a photographer and blogger. So I saw him and I thought, oh, maybe it's just somebody who just used it as his username, but it doesn't mean anything. I went through the comments but this guy has a business. He's published.
Right.
He's published on GQ and everything. He worked with GQ. I go on the website, and the website is all laid out and everything, and the business is registered. So there was nothing I could do about that.
Dang.
I went to the editorialist. And I still found something else.
I tell you,
I said, this is not happening.
I'll tell you this though, the Essentialist, it's the name.
Yeah, I think it's the name.
It's the name because them two you listed right now.
Yeah. That essentially gives me more room to do whatever I want to do with it, and as I'm growing with this, I know for a fact I'm not changing that.
Right.
It's gonna be it. I've already changed everything, all my paperwork and all that stuff. There's no way I can change that. And even if I want to, I have to ride this way for a little bit. So,
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep that.
Let's take it back a little bit, right?
All right.
You're a published photographer, right?
Right.
How did you get to this point? Because you've worked with so many different artists,
Right.
Adia Gay,
Yeah.
we've had on the platform.
Adia,
Shout out to her.
Yes.
You've worked with a couple charities too as well.
charities,
You've taken a lot of shots,
Yes.
in Africa and stuff like that. So it's like you have a well stacked portfolio. How did you build this up? Take us through the journey.
Okay, so right after high school, actually, this is one fun fact about me. I'm actually, my number one passion is actually dancing. It's not
Word.
photography, right?
Hey, fam, you caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah, it's actually dancing. It's actually dancing, and I
Afrobeats or like
everything.
Everything?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just a
okay.
little bit of hip hop and Afrobeats and crump and all that stuff. So when I was doing my first freshman year in community college, I was very involved like in the dance community and everything. And the thing is, that was more of a passion for me. But the other people in the room had dancing as their job. That was their way of living.
Right.
So I always saw them like doing, professional shots and everything for their portfolio and for their resumes and all that stuff. And I always wanted to do that. Like I always wanted to be at least in front of the camera, and I wanted to, I kind of pursued the whole dance thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying I wanted to do the professional shots because I wanted to find work in the dance industry. I wanted to do it because it was just clean. It was just
Right.
cool to do. It was during the MySpace days and all that stuff. And they were like, you know what? It would be nice to have a good photo in there or whatever. So I remember very well, like, I'll tell you right now, like almost everything that I'm into right now started from rejection. So when I reached out to some of these photographers to take my shots, some of them I even like proposed to pay, but they were not just taking me seriously, or they would say, "Oh yeah, I'll come up, we can meet up on this day, blah blah," and then never show up,
Right.
or never follow up with me or anything like that. So I started off like buying a little camera or whatever, and I was playing around with it and everything, and I was still taking dance photos. It was nothing fashionable or anything like that. So I was playing around with it until until I kind of developed that urge to say, you know what, photography is pretty cool. I might as well just own one, so I won't have to ask for anything from anybody anymore. So I bought a better camera at the time, and people used to see. That's when Facebook started getting a little popular and everything, and people always ask me how much I charge. And I always told them, hey, I'm just taking photos. That's all. And it got to a point where, like, maybe 1 year in, I kept getting so many requests that I said, you know what, since you guys want me to charge so much,
I'm a charge.
I'm gonna charge you guys, and I'm just gonna come up with a random number, and you guys just pay me or whatever. So that's how I started off with photography, and it was just consistency from there. I just took more and more and more photos and everything. Tried to network with other people, or try to network with different brands and all that stuff, and then it got to me to where I am today. So honestly, it's not that deep for everybody listening. It's just all about consistency.
Right.
Eventually your time is gonna come where you're gonna, when you're gonna look back and say, wow, I've done this much. So sometimes even when people tell me like you have a huge portfolio, I look back, I say, wait a minute, that's not that much. And or maybe I go back on my computer and I say, wow, I took those pictures too.
Yeah, I
or
gotta put that out.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I don't even remember when I some of the things that I shot, and then I would just edit it and it's just throw it there.
Yeah.
And people think it's something new when I shot it like months back, months ago. So yeah.
Let's talk about like to the like the millennials. People who are
Yeah.
like social media now, because so I know some photographers or people who
Yeah.
are big on it. You big on like aesthetics and stuff, and like your
Yeah.
IG and stuff like that.
I'm big on aesthetics.
Yeah, because your IG is really clean. I know people
Thank
who
you,
like
yeah.
they'll take a picture like 2 months ago. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna drop this here at this
Yeah.
date. And this day.
Yeah,
But like
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you got clout out here. Like you
Yeah.
popping.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm a little when it comes to that, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Where like if I feel like a picture is not at its place, I'll take it down. Or I'll say, you know what, this. I look at colors. I look at, the size of the photo, or like how much, how close the subject is to the photo and all that stuff. And I kind of like I actually start picturing it in my head before I even post. So I say, okay, my last 3 posts are these, right? And then I say, okay, what if I put brown, red, white in the middle? It's not gonna go. No, it's not gonna go. I'll go ahead and switch it up way before I put it back on, put it online or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very big. I'm very big on that.
Like-
If it's not the way I want it to be, it's going down.
Man,
You just studied colors because it's like I mean just yeah. You're saying is like you studied colors, like okay,
Yeah.
what color goes with which,
Yeah.
how colors integrate and all whatnot.
Yeah.
Is this something that you actually worked on?
It's not something I worked at. It's just
It's just
naturally
aesthetics,
happening.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like, yo,
just
what's
naturally
gonna
happening.
what's gonna look good in the
Yeah,
eye.
exactly,
When
exactly.
people go on your profile, it's like, oh, that's
Exactly.
Stuff,
The same way you have some photographers or even bloggers who just like using colored walls. When you look at their pages, it's just a lot of colors or whatever. They have their own ways of seeing things.
Right.
Their blue is not my blue. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha,
they,
yeah.
They have their own ways of doing things. I have mine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've been featured on GQ, Forbes,
Washington Post.
Washington Post,
Yes.
and all that stuff. Man, how does that
Appreciate
feel?
Okay, this is the thing, right? For me, I mean, it feels good. It feels good, but I mean, I appreciate it just because of the audience that I can get from that, the traffic that I may get from those platforms. But my vision, I have a different vision, So I'm appreciative for that. Although I appreciate these people like featuring me and all that stuff. My vision does not allow me to say, oh, wow, I've made it. It's okay.
Right.
That's good. So to me, one thing that I would say like that would say, you know what, I made it is when I will actually be full time in Africa. That's like having work full time, doing what I do back home. Because right now there's just this thing that like where people say well, oh, you want to do graphic design back home, that's gonna be tough or whatever. It's true, it's gonna be tough,
Right.
But it's still a goal. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to start it. So to me, until then, I haven't made it. I don't think it's something it's something worth celebrating, but it's not something that I would go crazy.
you won't
about.
feel.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just
till
I
then
can just
you're
be
not- yeah.
I'm humble. They published it. They reached out and everything, and they sent it to me or whatever. But they asked me to publish some of my work or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's also for their business. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
also for their own.
Yeah.
It's not like they're doing me a favor either.
Right.
They need that stuff because today, the marketing business is different. The marketing. Very soon, I keep telling that to people. In about 10 to 15 years from now, TV commercials are not going to be worth anything.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because everybody spends so much time on their phones
That's
and
true.
on social media and all that stuff. That's why you have ads popping up on your Instagram, on your YouTube, and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So these days, most brands would either go ahead and buy content or just have somebody do the work for them, and they just do the publishing, and they spend less money and still drive traffic through their
true.
platforms.
Yeah, that's very
so
true.
yeah.
Who's like killing it in Africa right now that you like, yo, I'm coming for the neck? Or is it just like it's just a void that you just trying to go fill?
It's just a void I want to go fill. Try not to look at what the people are doing because I feel like is going to. I feel like doing that would kind of push me to copy. Or like I think like it's gonna I'm gonna subconsciously copy what other people are doing. So I try not to. I would go in and just look at what is going on or what is happening. or I can say, wow, this person is doing a good job right now. Like this is just pretty neat. But I try not to stay there too long because I don't want to get what they are getting. I don't want
Right.
to, copy anything they are doing. So right now I think I'll stick with Cameroon, right? Right now I think that like when it comes to I think the music wise, people like, New Bell Music and all those people, like I think they are doing a, a very great job at doing what they are doing, even production wise and everything, from Jovi to Daphne and Gasha
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
all these
The whole
people.
nine.
Like
Yeah.
they have their own sound, you know what I mean? And I'm a fan of authenticity, and those are and those are just the people that I would like to work with,
Yeah.
not compete with. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I still have a production company. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It would be easier for me to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna come in there and just take over the whole thing, but it's just gonna put me in a situation where I will find myself obligated.
Yeah.
I'll put so much pressure on myself to do better than to enjoy my journey. You know what I mean? I'll be so
Yeah.
consumed by, oh, what other great
Yeah.
thing can I come up with? You know what I mean? And when you start doing that, you're gonna start like that's when your brain is just gonna be so close minded, and then that's when you're gonna feel like you're stagnant and everything, and then you get discouraged and you eventually start giving up.
I want to commend you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like here on
thanks.
Stuck in the Middle podcast,
Yeah,
that's what it's
thank you,
about.
man.
Like, two
Thank you.
words, you were born
Exactly.
here, you
Yeah.
were raised there, and it's like, yo,
Yeah.
I want to go back there and pick this thing full
Yeah.
time,
Right.
Yeah.
Where do you see Cameroon right? Just focusing on like, your home. Where do you see Cameroon right now, photography? Like you mentioned music
Yeah.
and like where can you elevate it? Like, you know what I mean? Where can you be right now?
I think most aspects of the creative world in Cameroon is
Do you
it's where
travel
it needs
do you
to be.
travel back
Yeah,
often?
yeah, I do. I try to go in every year. At the end of every
This man
year.
got a bag, yo.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the, I try to go. At the end of the, I didn't go last year, but I try to go there every year to see what's going on for myself and all that good stuff. I think the photography business is doing great. To me, sometimes like I even see people with equipments that I don't even have. I say, how did you get that? You know what I mean? Like and they things are just. I think like back home people are just hungry. They really
Yeah,
they're
true.
always looking
Lot-
at the next best
Yeah.
thing.
Lots of creatives there back
Exactly.
home right now.
And the thing is, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this before, but like every time I go back home or every time I visit any country in Africa or whatever, and I've only done only two countries so far besides Cameroon. Every time I go back, I come back with this energy, man, where I can't understand. Like I just
Yeah.
things just
Yeah.
keep happening. Like
Right.
my brain just keeps functioning and just keeps getting more and more creative. So I think that like back home, there's just this thing where that keeps everybody grounded, and that pushes everybody to be the best versions of themselves, and especially because the market is still open. The photography market is wide open, and I would give you an example. Like one day, I did a shoot for it wasn't a shoot. I filmed a nomination ceremony in it was in it's not too far from Bamenda. I forgot the name. It'll come back to me. But I shot an event over there and everything. And as I was taking photos and recording and doing all this stuff, I see other photographers just running in, start taking photos and everything. And then at the end, I kid you not, at the end of the event, that person had the photos all developed on the floor, ready to sell. And I have to still go back on my, in my,
Yeah.
in my thing to like
Yeah.
edit
Edit,
and
yeah.
and send it over or whatever. So one, yeah, it's good because they are really hungry or whatever. Nobody invited them. Nobody asked them. They just came in and did what they wanted to do or whatever. That's good for their exposure and everything. But the thing is, like, I feel like we need a little bit more structure.
Structure, right.
We need more more
Quality.
discipline quality. It's unfortunate that like sometimes a lot of people don't have the things we have access to over here. But now with the world being digital, everything is just so digitally driven. It's easier for them to like get some of these softwares like Photoshop or
Yeah.
Lightroom or all this stuff. And I just think that like the only thing I can contribute to is would be to just helping with structure. That's it. I don't want to influence anybody's work. I don't change the way they shoot. I don't want to change the way they create. I don't want to touch it, because that's the beauty of it all. That's the beauty of being creative. You have your own touch of everything,
Right.
and then for anybody who's not into that ground or into that realm, they can step back and look and say, wow, we have a huge variety of creators over here. We have different eyes, capturing other people, capturing people out there, or capturing any brands or anything like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, you've worked with Hope for Children,
Yes.
Hope for Children Cameroon.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
shout out to
Oh, Peter.
Pierre,
Yeah,
Lester
yeah,
and his brother.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
you
been
know,
a guest
doing-
on this podcast, by the way. Check that
Nice.
episode
Yes,
out if you
sir.
haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely check that out.
How was that like?
No, it was very humbling. That was one of those moments where actually that was the first gig that I had. You know what I mean? That's the first gig of its nature that I ever had. It was and it just happened so randomly. Paul and his brother have always been a vessel to to most of these kids back home. Like when it comes to giving back and all that good stuff, they've always been on top of it. And I remember back in 2015, I was scheduled to go back home anyway. So they reached out to me and said, you know what, we are giving some stuff back in Cameroon and all that stuff, some donations and all that. We have a lot of donations and everything, and we would like for you to do a documentary out of it, and also take photos and all that stuff. So obviously, I was definitely down for that, because those are the type of things that I want to do back home,
Right.
and those are the type of things that I want to do full time. So I picked up on it on a heartbeat. Initially, I was going back just for like a wedding, and and that moved from the wedding to working with Paul and his brother and everybody, and it was just a great experience, man. It just reminded me of some of the things that we take for granted and everything. They were just so, those kids were just so appreciative, man. They were just so glad to even just see us, period. Before we even we had any handouts or anything of that nature, they would just run towards us and everything and just welcome us and everything and all that good stuff. These are things that I don't get to see every day. We get so consumed with work over here, or our own problems over here, we forget that we have
People
other
need
people
help.
who need more help and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it was definitely exciting. And again, climbing on that Okada for people, getting on that Okada, and for people who don't know, Okada is just a bicycle. When the bikes,
Bike on gas.
yeah, bike on gas. You sit in the back and everything, and it was very adventurous, man.
Yeah,
It was
man.
very adventurous. Yeah.
Bruh, we've come to a segment in the podcast, right?
Yes.
We play a little game called Rapid Fire Questions. You ready for this?
Okay. I'm definitely down.
You down?
Yeah, explain.
You can just,
do anything.
you can answer with one word, or you can give a short little explanation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that kid take it.
All right.
Best place to shoot.
Africa.
Specifically.
Ooh. I would say between Cameroon and Ethiopia.
We're going to touch on that. Favorite
Yeah.
camera.
Favorite camera as of right now, Sony.
Favorite editing tool.
Lightroom.
Favorite designer.
Ooh. Clothing design?
Yeah, clothing design.
Anybody who's hungry.
Anybody who's hungry. Okay.
And let me expound on that. Because people who are hungry tend to be a little bit more creative.
So you're not big. You're not like a big names like
I don't do big names often. I don't do that.
I respect
Because
it.
because even if you go back on my content and everything,
Yeah.
you're not gonna see at the most you
Like
probably see
Polo.
like H&M. Yeah, you're not gonna see me so
Dang. All right.
Yeah, at the most you're gonna see me like H&M, maybe Zara, the things where everybody goes to. But like to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I do 3 stores. I also do 3 stores. I also do other people who are still finding their way out there, whatever. And then I don't know if you know our Connaisseur Paris too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would just work with them or whatever. I go to their brand or whatever and just work with them
Right.
and that stuff. Yeah.
So shout out to Bill Fraser and
Yeah,
Connaisseur
sir.
Paris. They be
Yes,
the guest
sir.
on the show too.
Favorite accessory.
Bracelets and necklace. I can see.
Favorite shoe.
Favorite shoe. I would say it's between I'll say Chelsea. Any Chelsea boots.
Chelsea Boo, yeah.
Chelsea boots.
The Chelsea Boo's
always-
all season. Cause I
No.
feel like I've been wearing them things out now. I feel like I'll be out.
I mean, me, I do it. I do that joint any season. Like,
Yeah,
That
it's
joint-
okay.
Whenever it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
whenever
okay.
the weather allows you to. Yeah.
It just look good.
Yeah. it looks
Top your top 5 artists in Cameroon and in the diaspora.
good. Ooh. In Cameroon, top 5, I would say it will start off with Jovi, and then Renis. I like Renis. I like Daphne. I like Gasha. I think Gasha is my number 1. Gasha, and then the last would be. I would say the last would be Dario. I don't know if you heard.
Dario,
He's
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
francophone
yeah,
rapper.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is, yeah.
I like,
Dario,
I like him. And in the diaspora, I like Stromae.
Oh,
Stromae is one.
but he quit though, man. Yeah.
He quit?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that.
Oh
after.
wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
I didn't know. I like Stromae. I like those weird people who are considered weirdos because he has his own way of thinking or whatever. Is a lot of the things that he says, I can relate to a lot of the things that he says
Man,
or how
he's a
sometimes
genius.
He's a genius. So there's him, and there is this is a tough one, man. Oh my gosh, it's a top 5. Jeez, I never thought of that. Okay, there's Stromae. There is Black Eyed Peas. There's Anderson Paak. I don't know if you know.
The Anderson Paak is nice.
I like Anderson Paak. I like most of them are like the rest is just like old school, man.
I like old school.
Yeah. I like Badu. I like
Erica Badu.
yeah, I like
Yeah,
Erica
Erykah
Badu.
Badu,
Erica Badu is it, man. Who's can be the last person?
Kendrick Cole.
Yeah, I'm a fan of them too.
Yeah.
But then again, you said top 5, man. When you say top 5, I'm trying to stick with okay.
It's
But
okay.
I would just pick anyone, right? The last one I would say would be most likely. Crap, man. Why are you guys doing that? I like Pharrell.
Nah,
I like
I respect
Pharrell
it.
because of the way.
definitely,
We're running short on time, but I want to
Yeah, yeah.
ask you this. You're a pretty stylish dude.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can attest to that.
All right, thanks.
You're taking a lady out, you know, to dinner. Your lady, any lady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Red lipstick or black lipstick.
Red lipstick,
Heels or shoes.
heels.
Hoop earrings or studs.
Oh crap. They're just better. They're both good. They're just good. I can't. It's hard to pick, man.
Dress or blouse.
I would say dress.
You a 4 o'clock man or 7 o'clock man?
I would say 7 o'clock.
Take time on this guy. What do you do in your free time when you're not shooting or doing men of freak things like
Yeah.
that?
Okay. I definitely like movies. I'm a big movie person. Movies, music. I like listening to music. Both of those are kind of like inspire me in like my everyday work. You know, the type of movies I set in photography, that stuff, and even fashion or whatever comes for like movies and music.
Right.
There's that. I like traveling, obviously. I have itchy feet. I don't like staying in one place for too long. And when I do that, and when I stay in one place for too long, I start getting a certain way, And there's traveling, just hanging out with friends, connecting with like friends and just putting people together in one room and just like having a good time and like catching up with them and just connecting with anybody, man. Just meeting new people, finding out what they are
stories,
about,
yeah,
their
the story,
stories and
yeah.
everything, and obviously just creating, man. At the end, it's just creating. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be work, but I just like creating. I just like coming up with new concepts or whatever. There's been a few times when I'll come up with a good brand name or anything like that, and I just pitch it to somebody and I just give it to them. It happened like twice or whatever because I know that I'm not capable of doing it with everything else I'm doing. So I just like coming up with new stuff. That's just me.
Let me put you on the spot real quick,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yes, sir.
Why would anybody choose to, pick one of your services and you have a whole list on your website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would they? I would say one is because I'm not selling my services. I'm selling an experience. Everybody is always looking for new experiences or whatever. So if you are somebody who wants to get more for your money than just the service you're getting, then yeah, that would be me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say because I whenever I work with people, I always try to look beyond just the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I try to connect with them, try to find out what what their intentions are with the services that I'm providing, and then always try to see if how I can do more for them than just
Providing
taking their
something.
money and then
Yeah.
just shooting and then that's it.
Right.
So I think those are the main things.
Okay.
So it's just all about an experience.
Keeping the main thing, the main thing.
Yeah, exactly.
For that little boy or girl who wants to follow in your path,
Yeah.
Be creative, put out a lot of content and all whatnot. What advice do you have for them?
Oh, just stay consistent. It's the beauty of being any type of creative from photographer to from being a photographer or being a blogger or anything you want to do. The good thing about it is you can do whatever you want to do. Just stick to your own vision or whatever. Even if people tell you, "Oh, no, it's not gonna work so great" or whatever, at least do it, and then make your mistakes. You know what I mean? Do it, flunk, and then if you think that it's not for you or whatever, then maybe you're right. Actually, let me rephrase that. Whether you think you're right or not, you're wrong. You're right. So if you're capable, if you do believe that you can do it, you're right. If you do believe you can do it, then you're right. It's your mindset. At the end of the day, that's something that that's something you have to accept. That's something you have to live with. You need to understand that like your mind is the number one priority. So if you set your mind to say you can do something, you won't be able to do it.
I like that.
So yeah.
I like that.
I like that.
So
Reflex,
that's
man.
about it.
Yes, sir. Man, bro. Appreciate you
Yes,
coming
sir.
on the pod,
Yes, sir.
man.
Thanks
We've
for
been looking
having
forward
me.
to this, man.
Thanks
It's been
for having
dope.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been
I
dope.
like. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It's a very fun experience. I started off being a little nervous. I was like, oh my god, what are they
Then
coming?
the ice broke up.
I was like, oh Lord, don't ask me anything crazy. yeah, but it's all good. It's definitely fun, and I'll definitely stay tuned. I enjoy what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Keep
Appreciate it. We
keep doing
appreciate
that, and you guys can only go up from there.
That's true.
That's all it is.
That's definitely
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, come
Right.
back again, man.
Yeah,
Whenever
definitely,
you guys need me, man.
Hey.
Whenever you guys need
Come
me,
back
I'll
and
come back.
bring your partner, man.
Yeah.
I would love to. I'd love to. Right now, he's busy somewhere right now, but I'll definitely.
Definitely.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
man, you've been watching Stuck in Middle Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms, SITM Podcast. Hit us on the web, man, sitmpodcast.com. And subscribe to our YouTube as well. Just go type SITM Podcast so you can stay on beat. Don't miss a video. And send us an email, stuckintthemiddle237@gmail.com with questions, concerns, or guest suggestions. And we'd love to read those. We'd love to hear your feedback. Next week,
Yes, sir.
we got Dana Bowden in the building. She's a fashion, beauty, lifestyle blogger, creative director, and entrepreneur. This girl is fire, man. Y'all want to miss this.
Yeah, man.
She's coming by next week. I will not be here next week. I'm extremely sad. But AK is going to hold the fork down. And we got a surprise guest host with you. You know what I'm saying? He's going to hold the fork down. So y'all don't want to miss that. And thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you, Harry,
Yes, sir.
the essentialist, for coming through.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Stuck in the Middle Podcast.
We out.
Yeah.
All right.